So before we get started, usually we don't do these kind of audits. The biggest reason that tends to lead to this kind of a thing and allowing this kind of an audit is actually really, really simple. In fact, can anyone tell me what that reason is in chat before I even tell you? So I'm pretty sure you know the answer. Yeah, I just started the bot up. I shut the bot down because I want to play it. No. Tacos. No. Comparison. Valid, but no. No, the answer is because it's short. Metroid Dread was originally designed sometime around 2002 or 2003. The initial story ideas and concepts were put together as a direct sequel to Fusion, which, given other M's, should sound very familiar. It was originally intended to be a DS game. They were going to boost the Metroid sales figures because DS boost, and the GBA titles had been doing pretty well, and the Prime series was on fire. And then, about 5 years passed with nothing. And now here's the really weird part. I could go down the list, but trust me when I say that there are dozens of interviews and financial reports and internal memos, all of which we have access to since then, that kept talking about Metroid Dread. It was such a common topic in the office, probably because they kept using it as the code name for the next big Metroid game, which kept not happening. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why. We've already discussed some of them in the lead up to this. But the biggest one by far is Sakamoto himself believed the DS couldn't do what he wanted it to do, so he was content to wait on the hardware. Now, that was actually probably the right call, all things considered. The DS was many things, but a powerhouse was not one of them. But the thing is, instead he went on to make Other M. So he had been stalling on the next big project for years. Everybody in the office knew about it. Everybody knew about Dread. Everybody at Nintendo knew about Dread. Most of the industry knew about Dread. It was one of those worst kept secret kind of situations. So when Other M bombed, well, now what? Now we've already talked about kind of the direction this ended up taking, because this led to the creation of Samus Returns. And as I mentioned then, Samus Returns was very much the Force Awakens of the Metroid series. Something very simple and very safe, on a safe system, under a safe environment, with another party working on it primarily, all to try and ensure that the game can maybe have a bit of comeback, right? See if people are willing to come back. Now, Samus Returns sold quite well, and did quite well, and everyone was happy with it, so they finally sat down and said, all right, you passed the test, MercurySteam. Let's talk Dread. Now, this was interesting because they had already laid out all the story ideas when it came to Samus Returns. I think I've already pointed that out during the Samus Returns run. They already knew where they were going with this. Ravenbeak and Quiet Robe are literally in Samus Returns, and they absolutely were leading directly into this as its direct sequel to Fusion and the furthest story in the arc. Sakamoto himself has said in several interviews that this was always intended to be like the conclusion of the initial story arc, going from Metroid 1 to Metroid Dread. So this is the big bundle here, with Prime kind of being off on its own. We'll see if that goes anywhere. This is all a gamble, but it worked. Unfortunately, this all worked because, well, let's just say that it shouldn't have worked, is probably the neatest way to say this, because this game was put together by MercurySteam. Now, I didn't really talk about this last time when we were covering Samus Returns, mostly because most of the information on that comes from their production cycle during Dread. Now, I have an article here. I'm actually going to link it in chat. It's a Spanish site. And I did a little bit additional digging after this, because you know me, I don't like to use one article as a source. The mother may. But I did a little more digging into it, and there's one of those interesting things when it comes to reporting on something. The more people that independently verify something, the more likely it is what you're looking at is actually truthful. And I bring that up because, unfortunately, quite a few people have come forward talking about how absolutely abysmal it was working at MercurySteam during this production cycle. As in, like, you see the size of that article if you clicked it. It's several pages of text. And they were doing all kinds of usual things. For example, if you if you were going against the management staff, they would reassign you to a different project and then use that as an excuse to not give you the raise that you were supposed to get or give you the bonus you're supposed to get. The people, this is during the development of Metroid Dread. I want to stress that. So that's pretty recent. These people were making 25 to 28,000 euros a year. I make more than that. Thank you for that, by the way. And I can't afford a house. Like, I can't afford a place to live. Obviously, the pandemic hit, and naturally, MercurySteam was like every other company in the universe and desperately trying to drag all of their people back into the office, even though it was considered a literal health risk. This is in Spain, where they're a little bit more strict about that, thanks to the EU, than here in the States, where, you know, they were just very, very stupid about how they approach COVID when it comes to corporations. And just all kinds of other bull crap. Bosses giving misleading or contradictory orders to people, cutting huge amounts of time and staff from the project. Oh yeah, they had a policy. They even defended this policy. A lot of people considered boycotting Metroid Dread because of this one thing I'm about to tell you. So they had a policy that if you worked on less than 25% of the game, you don't get in the credits for the game. Now, that's bullshit. Speaking as someone who's actually worked on several large-scale projects myself, usually as the actual project lead, thank you, theaters and rewrite projects, it's not that hard to keep track of who does what. If I can do it by myself, if I can credit that Platty voices that one NPC in Burmecia, then you can do it too. It's not that hard. It's actually worse than that, though, for these people, because, and I'm trying to find the exact line here. One second. Sorry. Oh, God, where is it? I believe my work is relevant enough to be credited. I don't get to own the rights to my work because the contract says so, but I should still be credited because my work is in the game that I created. Due to IP laws and NDAs, I can't use my work as a letter of application to other companies. So the only way to prove that is through the game's credits. So it's damaging in the obvious ways, but it's also damaging to future career prospects for these people. And that's why that is 100% worse than whatever you were already thinking. So this sucked. Again, I'm just giving you a super brief over the top summary. The management staff were terrible and all deserve to be tossed into a volcano. I am barely joking about that. At the very least, they all deserve to be fired and then kicked out of their homes and left to be homeless for the rest of their lives. Or it's okay. No, I'll tell you what. I'll give you all a deal. You can go and come work for me, but I'm not going to give you credit for it. I'm not going to pay you for it. Is that okay? Cool. Thanks. Bragwin, you're also their boss? Anyways, so those people are scum, and they suck. This is doubly a shame because one of the things, and I mentioned this briefly earlier today, that I heard from multiple different interviews from people who worked on Metroid Dread was that the actual staff working on the situation were kind of awesome. It was just a bunch of people who were all in the same bad environment, and that kind of created an automatic camaraderie amongst the actual people in the trenches, the actual developers who were making the game. I legitimately think that additional camaraderie made the game better. No, I don't think that justifies the way that they were treated. But it is kind of interesting, the way that lines up, isn't it? Interesting and absolutely horrible. And if this all sounds familiar, why yes, this does sound a lot like Metroid Prime. I'm not going to go into Metroid Prime right now. All I'm going to say is that Metroid Prime's creation is just, it's wild. I actually already have my notes on it right here, but I don't want to get into that. We'll just move on. We'll just move on. Because today we're covering Metroid Dread. Now, whoops, that's the wrong thing. I don't remember if there's a demo, so we're just going to let it sit here for a second. Certainly atmospheric. Well, there's two dangling plot threads they still have, Federation Builder. We've actually talked about both of them throughout the course of this run. We've got the Federation as a whole, And we've got the few dangling threads with the X-parasites, although that could be debated. Hello, Zephyr. I really like this song, by the way. The music in Dread is not at the level of Super, but they have a couple of bangers. Oh, wow, Rex. That was a minute ago. I actually kind of agree with that, Dakota. Although, well, we'll talk about that later. Although, my point is that there might be X-parasites in some future story. That's all I was talking about. Anyways, there's our 100%. Yes, I'm proud of that. Let's go ahead and nuke this one. No, hang on. Let's do this. Just get rid of that. I'm not getting rid of that first save. Just saying. That's just sitting there. Sorry, so we do have boss rush mode. So a couple of things have been added to this game. Only a couple since we played it. Boss rush is exactly what it sounds like. Battle all 12 bosses without stopping. Energy is not restored, but weapon ammo is restored. You can also do these even more horrifically things. So this is best time. This is get the highest possible score, and this is get the best possible time. There's also a practice mode for each of these. So that's cool too. 15 negatives, Warp Core. So, Rookie Mode. Increases recovery from drops and reduced damage from bosses. Normal, duh. Hard, obvious. Dread. Dread is OCO mode. Now, I don't mean to overpraise this. I use that word a lot. But the reason I like the fact that an OCO mode exists for a game like this is because an OCO mode can only exist in a game where it's possible to avoid all incoming damage. Which is rarer than you'd think. Most games have a concept called unavoidable damage, for a lot of different reasons, ranging from bad design, to deliberate intention to try and force you to use your healing items, to just a general health tax. The only type of game you can do, by the way, OCO stands for one-hit KO. Sorry for not clarifying that. The only type of game that you can do an OCO mode in is a game in which you can avoid all damage. We'll do normal. So I hope you like the briefest summary in the world of the previous Metroid games. Metroids. A virulent floating organism that drained energy from its prey through physical contact. Metroids were originally created by the Chozo and named after the word for the ultimate warrior. Their value as a bioweapon sparked several crises, and as a result, all traces of them had been eliminated. They are now extinct. Knockout. The X-Parasite. A gelatinous parasitic organism indigenous to the planet SR-388. It would absorb the DNA of its host, living or dead, and replicate its form. When infecting a living host, it could even access the host's memories. The X-Parasites were driven not by emotion, but by instinctive need to replicate and spread to increasingly stronger hosts. Their inability to be controlled marked them as even more dangerous than their sole predator, the Metroids. Like the Metroids, they are believed extinct. Of course, we spend lots of time on Fusion. Gotta spend time on the Golden Boy. With no Metroid surviving on SR-388, it became infested with the X. Horrifying parasites capable of imitating any living being. Deja vu. Unaware of this, I set foot on the planet, got infected, and almost died. Got the NES Metroid in the lower right there. The only thing that saved me was a vaccine created from Detroit DNA, which also left me uniquely able to oppose the X. This ability was tested immediately when I went to the Biologic Space Laboratory's research station to investigate a distress signal. Do you notice how Fusion has gotten multiple screens? of information and backtracking and story. Whereas Metroid 1, 2, and Super and the Primes were all summarized by a single paragraph. I can tell where the focus is here. There I battled many powerful X forms, including the SA-X, which was the X mimicking me in my power suit at full strength. I eventually eliminated the menace on SR-388 by setting the BSL research station on a collision course with the planet. That's our 4th kill, by the way. After that, the X and Metroids were just memories. Or so we thought. Just when it seemed over, the Galactic Federation received a mysterious video transmission. It showed an X alive in the wild. Though thorough analysis proved the video was real, though the sender was unknown, the transmission was traced to a particular planet. It was called ZDR. If the X had somehow escaped extinction out there, it would pose a threat to the entire galaxy. The Galactic Federation dispatched a research team of 7 EMMIs to investigate. An EMMI is a large research robot designed to capture field samples and extract their DNA. Their incredible mobility and protective plating, made of the strongest stuff in the universe, practically guaranteed the mission's success. But not long after the arrival in ZDR, all communication was lost. What is happening on ZDR? Is the planet really infested with X? As the only one immune to the parasites, it's up to me to go there and find out. Actually, yeah, it's not a plot point they talk about as much as they probably should, but it's a deliberate thing that because they send something with no wetware, the X-parasites can't do anything against them. Pure droids. And that makes sense, in contrast to other things we've seen the X-parasites do. Loading.
We'll soon be entering ZDR's atmosphere.
The bounty for this mission does not seem appropriate. The risk clearly outweighs the reward. Treat our lost assets with care, lady.
Entering the atmosphere.
I like that little touch. They don't need to clarify. That's for those of us who've already played these games. Which makes sense for what is effectively the end of an arc. It's actually funny, this game was a lot of people's first Metroid game. It shouldn't be. The same reason you shouldn't watch Return of the Kings first. Or, you know, Avengers Endgame. To my knowledge, they had nothing to do with his plan. But then again, his plans are universally terrible, so that makes sense, ISD.
That elevator leads to the depths of an underground facility. Signal quality is likely to be low. Remote communication remains trouble. Try to connect to the facility's network when you reach the bottom. That way, you can remain in contact. Any objections, lady?
Not really, Lord Harriman. Although, again, this is Metroid 5 in every way that matters. I like the speed of those reflexes. So this is Ravenbeak. Now, what we're about to see is straight-up warfing. But for probably one of the few times in fiction, I'm actually completely okay with it here. I'll talk more about why as we go further into the game. I have zero doubt she did not try Hexia. Power is everything. So, that was awesome. Forgive me for gushing. While there's a couple of things that stumbles on, I don't want to overpraise. That was a good freaking cutscene. It pretty immediately gets you into the mode of what's going on. There's also some Babylon 5 effect going on, and some general foreshadowing. And just really, really good usage of camera and animation. You can tell that whoever worked on the cutscenes for this game actually knew what direction was, unlike the person and people who worked in the cutscenes in Other M. And, yeah, I think that's the unskippable cutscene. I'm trying to remember, because, like, we had that issue last time. I forget how that worked exactly. We'll figure it out. So, let's jot down some notes here. That's a good question, IST. I don't know. Oh, yeah, no, exactly, Policious, no. Part of why that warfing works for me is because it's earned. Like, if you're going to establish someone by using someone else, you need to do a good job of it. You need to earn it. And Samus was not exactly getting jobbed there. She was doing her best and being pretty high tier, as is her norm. It's just Ravenbeak, that's the guy she was fighting, is arguably higher tier. He is the best. I'm just going to give this away right now. He is the best Chozo warrior ever. In a power suit armor, pretty much designed just like hers. You notice he had several of the same abilities she has demonstrated over the years. And still, it was still a battle, and she still managed to damage him. In fact, it wasn't until she damaged him that he decided to stop screwing around. One moment, please. So, yeah, no, that's cool. It also makes perfect sense he would come out to fight Samus personally. We'll talk more about that later. I will say another thing that I like about Ravenbeak. I'm just going to give this away right now. He's an idiot. And I know that's a weird thing to like about a character, but it makes so much sense here. The ultimate warrior is not what I would call the ultimate tactician. You know what I mean? Hey, DZ Maven, again. Okay, so, I know, right, Ross? So the first thing we see when we get down here is a clearly Chozo ruins in the background, with Chozo stylings and designs. Nice, pretty foliage, you know, stuff like that. So that's cool. She just moves like butter. It's kind of crazy how smooth this is. But I have to point out something. You see the minimap in the upper right there? This is, and I mean this with sincerity, probably the best minimap in gaming. At least so far. It shows you, it shows what you can interact with, it shows icons indicating what type of thing you can interact with. It fills out as you go. And my personal favorite, it updates live your exact position rather than just, this is the room you're on. And it updates where you've been. You see the light glow there? That's everywhere I've been. And this is not just kind of cool and neat, but it's actually useful. Because the usefulness of that is, and I was doing this my last time playing this, you can go through an area and be like, all right, I want to go up here and make sure if there's anything up here. And if there's some place that, like, if there's a thing up there, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's that thing up there? All right, I'm not sure what's up there. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second. And I'm not going to, I'm deliberately going to not jump up there, because that way I know, but I can check the map later, because the map checks that same thing, by the way, and say, oh, okay, there's an area I haven't been to up there, right? It's another tool. It is yet another tool. That is just, it's so good. It's so good. Can it be resized? I think it can. Yes, it can. Looks like there's just the two sizes, but still, we can do that. That's true, Asdomain. 15,000 negatives for having an incredible feature. Sorry. So, triple positive for the minimap, absolutely. That is, it's the best minimap in gaming. I don't think I've ever seen better. So, pretty simple stuff. A little Metroid 2-y kind of a thing going on here. Controls are nice and tight, as they should be. Actually, give us a couple of pop-ups here. Okay, stuff like that. Ledge grab is back, pretty much to stay, I believe, at this point. Notice that this whole area is, as it should be, pretty much completely designed around the idea of teaching you, here's how to play the game, through level design, as it should be. Also, I can't put into words how smooth and wonderful and amazing this feels to play. Holy crap. Anyways, I know I pointed this out last time. In fact, this is actually on the highlight reel. If you push up against the thing, Samus will actually put her hand up like, well, hang on. Hang on. There are so many tiny details like that when it comes to the visuals of this game and the animations of this game. It's kind of crazy. Watch her body movement as we rotate around. Notice that she adjusts where her knee is, where her left arm is, the one that's holding onto the ledge, how she's dangling, where she's looking. That is so smooth. Look at that. I mean, let's be honest, if any game's gonna beat Super, it's this one. Anyways, that's true, Plutonia. 15 negatives to... Would that be story or gameplay? And yeah, the brickwork is bonkers good. That's going to be hard to rate. It's legitimately going to be hard to rate. So I'm just going to have to jot down some notes as we go here. Because it's short, Imperial Star Sword. That's the simplest answer to your question. 100%ing it last time, it took us 12 hours. I think we'll be able to do a little faster on that this time. And yeah, this is how you do 2.5D better.
Uploading data.
So, you've accessed a network station. Well done, Samus. I have reviewed your vital signs and video log from the data you uploaded. I've run a full analysis, but I cannot account for why you lost consciousness. My readings indicate dramatic physical changes in you. Whatever caused these changes seems to have stripped you of most abilities. You might call it physical amnesia.
So there's our reset excuse for this particular game. Also, a much better Adam performance than other M, which is sort of pathetic, but it's still true. Also, while we're on the subject, that's true, Blade Chevelle. I have to point out, this is a Metroid game that's fully voiced. Given how many games out there, still to this day, avoid voice acting. Anyways, so I just wanted to point that out.
That brings me to your assailant. I am checking the Federation database against your video log. It appears to have been a Chozo. The attacker's identity is not yet clear. I have determined that you are somewhere within the depths of ZDR. Your top priority should be to return to your ship on the surface. This situation is precarious. Trust your instincts as you navigate upward. This planet appears to consist of multiple areas. Shuttles, elevators, and other modes of transport connect them. Keep an eye out for ways to reach the surface. The ship's location is marked on your global map. Check it for yourself. You may encounter pockets of low temperature. Your Metroid DNA renders you vulnerable to such environments. Spending time in cold areas will be harmful to you. There are many such cold areas scattered underground. Do not enter them with your basic power suit. One final thing. Underground interference is preventing radio transmissions. Check in with me at any network stations you find.
So, they brought back the counter. A little more polished than it was last time, honestly. Once again, an area designed to teach you about how to use things by having enemies that are specifically designed to attack you, and then be countered. Also, enemies designed to have more health and can be killed in one shot. Oh yeah, dynamic drops are back, by the way. As is the vacuum. Oh yeah, and we have a straight up punch this time. Forgot to point that out too. Game. Oh yeah, there's actually an indicator. I forgot about that. There's an indicator that there is a hidden item in an area. So that's kind of cool. She doesn't have full control, but she doesn't have the rogue problem yet, I esteem. There's a damaged EMMI. Ravenbeak already got to this one. Shreked it. He's still down there. He's kind of doing his thing. So these are based off of the original Mother Brain. Because of course the Chozo use tons of Mother Brain tech, because they're in love with biotech. Yeah, they love their biotech. What can I say? God damn. Hey, by the way, you die very, very quickly to those things. And there's your format for how the EMI fights works. ME fights, excuse me. You avoid the ME until you can get to the spot where you can get the Omega power-up. Once you have the Omega power-up, you use that to kill their asses. Each ME will also be functionally a boss, which will also then give us more power-ups. A lot of Chozo statues here, but a little different styling than we're used to. A little more brutalist. Makes sense because this is a home base of the Makan tribe, who are the warrior caste, or a warrior caste, I should say. Fun people. I know, right, Ross? Give me a minute, I'll be playing Breath of the Wild and Zelda 1 back-to-back. I don't care for the grain filter, I'm not gonna lie. Never did. I do love the animation on the Emmys. It's wonderfully robotic. Considering I don't know how to ISD, I'm going to lean towards no. Also, you can really tell this is what they wanted to do with the SAX, and you couldn't. That was a thing. Listen, Asdomain. I'm not much of a memorization guy, never have been. Speedrunning aside. There was one Emmy that certainly I wasn't super fond of. I don't remember which one it is exactly, though. Yeah, do you like the mob that's just hanging out there, by the way? You can actually see it if you're paying attention. Okay. You see it? Just noticed I'm out of missiles. There's one thing that this game does worse than Super, it's music, though. It's weird going from the amazingness of Super's soundtrack to this.
Uploading data.
Both enemy you encountered were clearly trying to capture you. They may have been hacked. If so, it's reasonable to assume all enemy will be hostile. Enemy send out a pulse to detect vibrations in the air within a certain range. Essentially, they can hear you. Upon detecting vibrations, an enemy enters surveillance mode to track their source. Stay out of its line of sight when this happens. Otherwise, the danger to you increases dramatically. An enemy that has seen you will begin pursuit. Part of the pursuit protocol is to seal the enemy's own exits. You will be trapped inside. To survive, you must leave its range of pursuit. Evade the enemy and it will disengage. This will also unseal the exits. An enemy never leaves its assigned zone. Their control system must permit them to operate only within that range. I estimate a 99% probability of death if an enemy captures you. There may be a very small opportunity to escape, but exploiting this window will be virtually impossible.
Look, I'm not here to flex, but I literally just did that a few seconds ago.
The enemy are immune to your current weapons. You lack the unique energy used to defeat the first enemy. Your only option now is to evade capture and find an exit. Your highest priority in an enemy zone should be simply to survive.
Thank you for the subs, Blue Alex. As always. Give me a sec. There we go. I agree, though. This is such an overt sequel to Fusion. Ignoring the obvious fact that it's the entire intro spent about 90% of its runtime recovering Fusion and not the other games, says all it really needs to. But that's ignoring the fact that we literally know the story and arc for this game was written immediately after Fusion and has been in production ever since, to some extent or another. So, yeah, no, of course it is. Ah. ball yet. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, this is a long time after it, but I wouldn't mind the team that did Zero Mission trying to tackle a remake of Super. They did a really good job with Zero Mission, you know? I don't know, I don't think the colors are that dreadful, Crazy Horse. The map does track water level. God, that's such a good map. I accept. I should mention I don't really remember my way through this game, so I'm mostly playing it by ear. I've only played this game one time, after all. Well, 1.5. I'm sure I'll run into a walkthrough point at least once. I wouldn't be surprised. All those wonderful Chozo statues in the background. I wonder what art team spent how much time working on all that crap. Alright, well, we're at it. So, there's the global map. So, the map is really detailed, and you can zoom in really, really far to really get a good feel for it. But, as with before, I forget which game it was, but we can place markers. Now, we can only place 6 markers this time around, which is a weird and silly restriction. But, you can still place markers, and I still like that, so yay. We also have some indicators that we don't know what they are yet, but as soon as we know what an indicator is, we can mouse over it, and it's like, ah, so that, I don't know what that is. But that's a missile up. This is a save area, but I don't know what that is. Stuff like that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. The art team wasn't paid. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit that. The Metroids, Crazy Horse. I wouldn't be surprised if this game doesn't get as many level design positives as Super, but I mean, come on. You know. Where's the map? Where's the map? There even a thing. Best Metroidvania, the best Metroidvania game I have completed? Well, at the moment, that's Super Metroid. We will see if this game manages to beat that or not. That's kind of what we're here to decide. I mean, I'm going to cut off stream probably in like an hour. I don't think we're going to beat it quite that fast. I'm good, but I ain't that good. Me. Really quick refill after that. Admittedly, I enjoyed the funneling of this game, but not because it's funneling, as weird as that probably sounds, but because it's good funneling. It's rarer than it sounds. Someone actually managed to do that kind of thing and do a good job with it. Is it Dahaka in Prince of Persia? I was just thinking of StarCraft too. Hey, info in game. I was wondering if that would be here. I remember less of this than I thought I did. How long ago was that when we last played this game? So it actually talked about pseudo screw attack, or whatever it's called there. It has been, was it 2.5 years? God, that's actually less time than I thought, if I'm being totally honest. Let's jot down some notes really quick here. Super quick. Super quick. Super quick. Let's take a look at my review on... what was that? Zero Mission? No. Was the AM2R... Which one had the indicators? Oh, that was Samus Returns. That was Samus Returns. Duh. Excuse me. It was Samus Returns, right? Which one had the indicator of how many items you got per area? I don't remember which Metroid that was, and I feel very stupid for not remembering that. It was one of them. Maybe I just missed it. Oh, look at it. Hang on. Oh, nope, I haven't reset the guessing sheet. That's my fault. Yeah, let me fix it real quick. There you go. Now it's reset. Sorry. Look, I had a lot of typing to do with Super, okay? My entire lunch break was just me typing up notes for Super. I am not Spartan. Absolutely not. If for nothing else, to keep everything lined up. No, the Super review can't be up on the reviews page yet because YouTube was being extremely slow about uploading. So that was the bottleneck there. I'm not even sure if the review's up yet. The VOD, I mean. Okay, it is up. Woo, thank you for checking. Get really quick, since I'm already paused. I'm already just sitting here. Shut up, past me. Nobody likes you. That was earlier today, me. Yes, that's how psychotic I've gotten with getting rid of old stuff. Any review that isn't the current review we're doing is getting deleted immediately. Okay, so this is Super. Giving you something to read instead of watching my boring ass. There you go. There you go. Document is updated, so you can actually check the review page, and Super is on said page. Okay. Close that out. Not really Sub-Zero. We're mostly honor system in a lot of ways. I mean, parts of the document are actually protected, but for the most part, the document's just whatever. So if someone wanted to be a dick, or vandalize the thing, or screw with someone else's guess, they could probably do that. Yeah, the Twitch API thing is almost assuredly the major reason for that change, Blue Fusion Volt. But at the same time, I sincerely doubt that all of the changes at Twitter in general and the fact that they're rolling out the Switch 2 next March is getting in the way of that either. I shouldn't say that so definitively, because the last time I said that I was completely wrong, but whatever. Yeah, honestly, if I was big enough to actually be worried about people vandalizing my documents, what I'd probably do is I would have, like, a bot or something. And that bot's only real job would be to capture those guesses and then dump it in there, you know? That's what I was going to write down. I knew there was something I was going to write down. That's true, Blake Jamal. I could hire someone to just catch that kind of thing and be like, hey, keep track of this, please. And hire people in general. Holy crap. How's that for a weird thought? That's the realm of luxury right there. If I get so big to the point where I can actually have a staff, then I have officially made it. Right. Oh yeah, I should test the charge beam here. So here, do me a favor. That's the shoes missiles. No! I automatically homed them in. I was too close. I was too close. No, I was still too close. Damn it! Okay. Yep. So the home in the charge vacuum. God, words are hard. Works just the way it does in Samus Returns, and that is awesome. Listen, Game Geek, if I could. Well, I'm not sure what I would hire you for. What are your qualifications, Game Geek? It is always nice to have you on the stream, Gimko. Have people in general on the stream, I guess I should say. We like... Yeah. I mean, Rule 0 is called Rule 0 for a reason. That's all I'll say about that. Rule 0 always applies. Yeah, that's true. Savacom, I need you to beat the crap out of anybody who gets in my way. Or, I mean, who causes issues, of course. I would never abuse the power of the Savacom. Oh yeah, I forgot to update the franchise. Could someone in chat do me a favor? Type !_ franchise really quick, please. Thank you. Just pull up Metroid super quick. I just want to add Super to the list, just while I'm thinking about it, because I forgot to. So that's 55.91. Whoops. So Super was 55.91. And 434.71. Now, the problem is the primes are still a giant hole in that. But otherwise, there's your averages and there's your curves on the franchise sheet. Alright, so, where are we going? I do love how all this stuff is highlighted too. There's a power beam door. There's another power beam door. There's an item of some kind, you know. Little stuff like that. Oh, the Emmy's animation is so good. This is not where I want to be. Am I just that tired right now? Tired right now. I gotta go around. Excuse me. What the hell was that? Oh, the sensor door. Right, I remember. Either way, that's a no for now, but you know what isn't a no for now? Yeah, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing. Oh god, was that the Jaffe room? Did I just effortlessly go through the Jaffe room? Without even noticing or thinking about it? I think for the second time, actually. Anyways, lovely backdrop. Enjoy the molten geothermal powered death plant back there. Yeah, I know. I'm not bragging. I'm nothing special. It's just... Come on. So there's that heat indicator back from Samus Returns, which means... So there was a... Well, a game... oh god, what's the insult word that I can't think of all of a sudden? A games journalist who got stuck in the previous room and got really pissy about it. And it's such an easy, immediate, well, obviously I go up there kind of a thing. They don't even think about it. They even bother to put enemies up there to indicate where you're supposed to go. I mean, the Metroid series has always been pretty good about using enemies as part of the guidance, right? If there's an enemy in an area which you can see, but you're not 100% sure how to reach physically, then something around you is supposed to lead you up there. That's pretty much the norm. Exactly, Blow Off Alex. Hence, that's why I wanted to use the right terminology for that. I actually had someone once give me a compliment by saying they specifically did not think of me as a games journalist. I didn't take it as a compliment at first, I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I realized what that meant, it was like, oh, thank you. That's so sweet. It's not actually accidental, Pillager Snow. It's just unfinished. That's all it is. What you're seeing is a concept of templating. Probably Ginkgo. Lord knows I've done the same thing. It's one of the reasons I have that rule against giving negatives if I'm still angry about something. Jesus, Adam, fine. What do you want to talk about? What is this, fusion?
Uploading data.
There was no record of your assailant in the Federation database. However, there are records of the chosen warrior tribe. There is a strong possibility the two are connected. You have seen the warrior tribe's architecture and artifacts on this planet. I conclude that this was one of their settlements. But why would someone lead you here and send the enemy after you? The footage of the X-Parasite may have been staged to lure you in. The situation remains unclear, but your priority hasn't changed. You must return to the ship. You have activated the magma supply system that has restored power to the closed thermal doors. Seek them out to proceed. Continue to search for the unique energy you employed against the first enemy. It is the only way you can confront them. Unfortunately, this energy is limited. You may have noticed it dissipating after an enemy is destroyed. There are 6 remaining enemy hunting you. You have no means to confront them. Remember that.
I wanted to call myself an analyst, but it felt pretentious. I don't like feeling pretentious, so I walked away from that. I'm comfortable with reviewer, because that is pretty much my primary focus. I'll take that. Really, game? You knew what you were doing, game. Don't front. Don't front. That's actually funny. Yeah, I run lore. Or rather, I do lore and I do runs. Yes, I like to consider myself a journalist. It's a shame, because that should be an honorific title, not an insult word, but here we are. And yeah, streamer is always acceptable as well. The most difficult boss in the universe. Behold its incredible glory. Obvious Mother Bane reference is obvious, even though we don't acknowledge the previous games, but here we are. Just don't call me a YouTuber. That's all I ask. Ignoring the obvious implications, the fact is, I'm not. Yeah, by the way, we have the Gatling gun now, so that's cool. Strange. We'll work that out in a minute. I mean, by definition, I am not a boomer. Too young. It's sort of pathetic when you consider it. That's way too close. Still gonna go for it. Ah! Sorry. I love her new boots, by the way. Can I just say that? They're a little Mega Man-y. But, you know, not a bad thing in my book. No reason I mentioned that in particular. So now we have spider magnets we can attach to blue. Ah, my eyes. That's definitely a negative. We've already given that negative, but man. Straight out of God of War with the visceral. I love just how good the animations feel. Is that just me? Like, you could tell the staff really put some thought into making Samus feel weighty as she moves around. And that's why I call it the God of War thing. Because Kratos always felt like, kong, 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 even just when he's walking around, right? Those animations, yeah, they are. Let's just triple that up over here. Okay. Yeah, just plong! Harry! What's the name of this way? Where are we? Artaria? I mean, it makes so much sense, right? That Samus and Rock would actually chill together. Doesn't that track, right? Is that just me? Am I the one who thinks about that? Alright, see you around, DZ Maven. Hello, Evo. Go to bed. Go to bed before looking at these amazing animations. I want you to look at these animations, Evo. Look at them. Watch this. Tong! Tong, 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 tong. Hell, even the sound design matches it. It's great. I mean, the enemies only appear when the enemies go away is pretty much straight up the same thing from Samus Returns with the Metroids, right? Like, a lot of the DNA of Samus Returns is really visible in this game. Hang on. So this is a feature. I didn't even show this off. This is so cool. I want to see where all the missiles are. So I highlight the missiles. And there's all the missiles. It actually, it's a form of a filter. So you can see where all the missiles are on the map, right? Or I want to see where all the power beam doors are. Or, hang on. Let's do something more specific. Like, where was that? That's up here. The sensor lock, right? There's only a few sensor locks, and they're all over here. So, good to know, right? That's such a great feature. It's not quite a filter, but it serves the same purpose as one. Oh, right. Yeah, the quality of life features in this game are kind of bonkers, really. I think this is just to get a missile pack. Yeah, I think I'm right. Okay, so let's head up, I think? Yes, let's do that. Although we didn't go this way. Let's go this way real quick. Aww. But I wanted to hear your thoughts on the amazing visuals. One-way door. we're locked in here. Meanwhile, in a mini-boss... I love how you can see the thing in the background, by the way. Approach. Those during the cutscene. There's our death animation. And, just like, I think Samus Returns, really good checkpoints. She was super nude, Evo. Just boobs everywhere. Just everywhere. That's all you could see. Covered in them. Oh yeah, by the way, you can skip cutscenes. Don't know if I showed that up earlier. Yeah, it was really grotesque, actually. Think about it. What you eat is up to you, Spartan. I ain't here to judge. Listen, I don't know what you're talking about. Questions? Thanks. This is how you characterize someone without dialogue, by the way. She just watches for a second, and then charges up the beam, and waits. And, yeah. That's Samus Aran, you know? Pretty much, Plutonia. And it works quite well for them. And now we see our next big gimmick for Dread. The same gimmick we had for Samus Returns. Ion energy. Makes sense on a planet that, you know, is Chozo-based. Although, the last planet we used ion energy was completely destroyed. I sure hope that won't happen here. Seriously, did you think about it? Both SR-388. Anyways. So, Aeon ability is an ability that renders Samus invisible to enemies by refracting the light. She can move silently, albeit at slower speed. With full Aeon, press R to activate and R again to deactivate. Aeon will slowly consume while ability is activated. Moving or firing will consume additional. So you can shoot and move while having it. It's just expensive. Once all Aeon has been depleted, the Phantom Cloak will consume energy instead. Should it deplete energy to 1, it will automatically deactivate. So you can actually burn health into this if you really need to. After deactivation, Ion will begin to recharge automatically once you make any actions. The ability cannot be activated again until Aeon is full. Cool. As the saying goes. So that's going to go under kit, obviously. We'll decide how that gets part and parcel later. Sleep, Evo, sleep! Someone tell Evo to sleep, because I don't think she's listening to me. I mean, they really do, Tully. It's such a shame, because their management staff obviously doesn't understand anything, like what human rights are. I mean, I'm sure they've heard of human rights, you know. It's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, I think I saw that in, I don't know, a magazine, a trade mag or something like that. What's the name of the boss we just killed? Does anybody know? If there's one way this game is definitively superior to Super, it's boss design. Notice how, as usual for this series, we can't actually exit unless we use the item we just got. That's a good question, Blake Toll. I do not know. By memory, I would say yes, but then again, Samus Returns had some banger bosses, so... I don't know. I didn't even realize that. Okay, we also got the mission log, which is its own thing for tutorials and events. And just our own status here. Yes, I did, Spartan. I believe the digger... Oh my gosh, was also a negative, but it was definitely a positive. So that's the thermal door, that's over there. Recharge station. Very quick, by the way. Do you notice that? No delay. No seconds and minutes. Yeah, I tend to have a problem with boss fights that are just a little bit too long, even if they're good. Because, and this is crucial, they're a little bit too long. Let me think. I haven't really unlocked much of anything. Let's do it this way. Yeah, there's actually a specific fight in this very game that I would honestly be shocked if it doesn't get a negative for checkpointing, because of just how freaking long it is. Would I rather play Other M or Starfield? So what are the conditions here? Because if you're asking me to 100% the game, then that becomes very quickly apparent which one is worse. I knew it, Federation Builder. Oh, excuse me. Yawn attack. Oh, pardon me. Right. So casual playthrough. So if that's true, then I can just zip through Starfield in like an hour and a half. Having said that, though, I think I'm going to agree with my own review. I'd rather play an hour of Other M than an hour of Starfield. I mean, they're both Lamentations. They're both trash games. And yeah, I like that too, Rex. Very much so. I hesitate to give a negative for what is effectively a hardware issue, but I'm not a fan of the load times. I never have been. And I never will be. Load times in this game are not great. It's okay, if you only play an hour and a half, you only get tons of character assassination. Yeah, there's an interesting question. If we played this on the Switch too,
Uploading data.
would we have that load time issue?
CPR appears to be powered by thermal energy. Magma is pumped from the planet's interior and routed from there. I have located the central routing system for the magma. It is here in Cataris. Samus, your current suit cannot protect you as you explore Cataris. The extreme heat of the lava is too much for it. Under no circumstances should you enter high-temperature areas. I note a shuttle somewhere above here. Use it to find a path forward. There is one other thing to discuss. It is your new Phantom Cloak ability. The Phantom Cloak prevents the enemy from detecting you. Thus far, your only option was to run. Now, bypassing them is also an option. Use this to reach your objective. Note that using the Phantom Cloak severely decreases your mobility, and direct contact with an enemy will still result in capture. It is up to you whether to hold your position. Just be aware of your surroundings. The Phantom Cloak is useless. Once an enemy sees you, you will need to evade capture until it gives up pursuit. The Phantom Cloak can remain active after your aim has been depleted. It will consume your life energy instead. Consider it a desperate measure.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you. Listen, talk about it. We need to talk about your repetition thing, okay? Alright, I can smell dinner, and I can tell Beast and the kids that dinner's going to be ready soon. So rather than work up to the line, I'm going to go ahead and pause here, now that we've just saved. Tomorrow, at roughly 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll continue with... God, that's a lot of gameplay positives. We will continue with Dread. And honestly, there's a really good chance we'll beat Dread tomorrow. So, I'll see you then.